ladies and gentlemen. This is Anthony John Agnello, host of GamesRadar's I Got Next. This week on the show, we sat down with New York City College of Technology professor John Huntington to talk about his work as the audiovisual director of the Gravesend Inn, a student and faculty-run haunted house that's been in operation since 1999. We played a little bit of Frictional Games' new horror game, Soma, with Professor Huntington, and talked about what makes for the perfect scares. How do you scare people? How many people need to be moving through your attraction, whether it's a video game or an actual haunted house? How old are they? What's the best way to actually freak them out? And when you run into somebody who's not scared of a haunted house or a horror game, how do you actually scare them? This is what Professor Huntington had to say.
I imagine you have to do practice runs where you yourself go through the attraction, so you know that the timing is working and it all makes sense and that everything functions. How do you, when you build it, I can't imagine that it's as potent to you. So how do you know when you've made something good?
Oh yeah, that's another good question that we really only know when we get the audience in there. There's one effect I don't want to give away because it's one of the more powerful ones. Doesn't involve any technology at all. The first year we put that in, when the thing was brand new and very effective. It's still very effective, but it was really amazing when we first put it in. The first group came through, looked at it, turned around, and walked out the emergency exit. So that was
Noping out.
Right, exactly. And again, to us, it's just, if I go through somebody's haunted house, I don't really enjoy being scared, ironically. But also, I know they're not really going to murder me and those type of things. So I just end up I go through, I kind of know what's coming. But the only thing, it's sort of like comedy or anything else. You can only really judge it when you have an audience in there. Because We've seen it, like, for example, that effect was really cool. And we all thought it was really excited when we first put it in. But after we'd seen it for a while, like, oh, well, that'll be interesting. But we had no idea it would be that as effective as it was. And that you got to just watch the audience.
I'm seeing something.
Yeah, I'm sitting here listening to this, being like, "Oh, it's only scary when you don't know it's coming," and I'm being demolished by this horrific thing made of light and blackness.
I don't know what that is.
Light eyeballs.
I'm dead. I'm dead.
Yeah, which actually in this case is better because now because it gives you a chance to replay the sequence. You know where dude is going to come out of.
Oh yeah,
you can avoid it.
He's going to be in that hole.
Looking at him makes it worse.
Yeah, I'm just going to stop.
Looking at what happens after.
That was really unpleasant. That was really effective. So,
the thing that this highlights, though, is that because one thing that a lot of both horror movies and horror games misunderstand is they think that blood equals scary.
Which it doesn't.
There's no blood here. And this thing is freaking terrifying.
Right, that's right.
Yeah, John.
It's making very strange sounds and kind of reeling back and walking very strangely, and I think all of that communicates this is bad news.
Right.
Have you reincorporated gore into the inn over the past 14 years? Have you gone back to being bloody?
No, it's like there's a little bit. There's always a little bit, but yeah, we kind of made a conscious decision to not do that, and it's more like, and again, it's we're in a school environment. It's open. We get lots of kind of school groups and stuff, but yeah, we feel like two things. One, exactly what you're saying, that things can be scary without a lot of gore, but also I think it's just more in the sort of tradition of the fun house rather than. And honestly, it's kind of easy. It's sort of easier just to have a lot of gory stuff, and I think it's a little harder. And more powerful, I think, to build suspense and those type of things without it. So again, like I said, we have a new sound designer this year, and we're going to be very interested to see what Sam brings into this because I think there's a huge amount of potential there for that.
So now, when you say you have a new sound designer, is he overhauling effects? Is there music? The attraction mostly doesn't change year to year. So, what kind of new things is he bringing to it?
Yeah, so we had a sound designer for many years, and he just moved out of the area, so that's why he's not sound designer anymore. So we have, I guess he's the this will be the third one over the history of the thing. The original one was in our department and moved into administration somewhere in a different part of the school here. But he was a composer, so there's actually a lot of original music.
Cool.
Each area kind of has a theme song and so on. So again, I can't really tell you what it's going to be this year, and I can tell you after next week when we start putting it in. But we literally we're putting speakers in and testing things right now, so we'll find out what
Anthony,
Sam's
go
going
up,
to do there.
I can't right now.
Oh.
I can't right now. There's an angry ostrich made of hate and eyes coming at me.
Hide behind that wall. Yeah, to the left.
Don't worry about it. Don't
worry about it. It's fine. It's good. He's totally
not,
cool.
He's not gonna come over here.
Now, when you say school
I actually
groups,
hid there.
what age are we talking about? Are we talking college? Are we talking high school?
Oh, even younger. We get, I think they don't like really small kids is a little too much, but it really depends on the kid. But yeah, we'll get groups of, I'm terrible at ages, but 6th, 7th, 8th grade in there. And then they are the most fun because and it's funny too, there's sort of a generational thing there too. Like they figure out the sensors and the cameras. They don't see them when they go through the first time. But when they sit there, a lot of them want to go back through again and actually actuate things because they figure it out right away.
Oh,
and then the
cool.
funniest thing is that there's when their teacher goes through. So often, and the really kind of crazy thing when you get towards the end of the attraction, if there's a big crowd in there, you actually hear them because you're in the theater. You don't really know it. You're on the stage. They're in the audience watching you. And there's this huge roar from the audience if you do something crazy. So when their teacher comes in, the kids go insane. And then often, and again, these are the type of things that the audience just really works out. We don't really tell them what to do. There's no applause sign or telling, no behavior type of thing. But often, if somebody does something really funny as they go through, when they exit out, and all of a sudden they're like, what are all these people watching? People actually will applaud spontaneously watching them. So that's the most cool stuff is seeing what the audience does. So yeah, we have really young kids. I mean, babies obviously a little too small.
Yeah.
But we get these school groups come through, and those usually come through during the day, and they're the ones, like I said, will form up into a big, rugby scrum of 10 or 12 people, and they all and they merge together too. So then, like they'll go through in groups of 4 or 5 or 6, and then by the end, there's one group of 20, like moving through the whole thing, all holding on to each other. So it's pretty hilarious.
John, do you find that younger people, like, do you find that kids are more susceptible or more resistant to the scares?
That's a good question.
That go through there, because I think back to like the only time I've ever had to nope out, as we were saying earlier, from a haunted house. I was like 8, and I was in Ocean City, Maryland, and
I used to go there. I grew up in Maryland, so I used to go to that beach every summer.
That haunted house was legit scary.
Yeah.
It had half of a crashed plane coming out of it.
What?
They had these amazing props, amazing mechanical props.
Yeah.
And you walk inside, and you're in this gaudy, smelly boardwalk, and you think, oh, there's nothing that could possibly be scary. And the moment you go through the door, dead silence. Silence and darkness. I had to leave. I had to get the hell out of there.
Oh, wow.
The live actors in there, and I remember it being very well staffed. There was, you ran into 3 actors within a few steps once you go in. And they came out of nowhere, like this ghost maid. I was like, no ghost maids. Not dealing with ghost maids. I'm getting the hell out of here. I'm not dealing with no ghost maids. But my brother, at the same time, not only was this a wonderful, opportunity for him to make fun of me, but it was also to him not scary in the least. And he was 12 years old. I was 8. And he thought this was hilarious. And in some ways, I can imagine it's a lot harder to scare a 12-year-old than it is a 30-year-old or a 60-year-old.
Yeah, it's very interesting. This is something, I'm sure there's been psychological studies on this, but it seems to be, it's almost like a choice. We see people I haven't noticed, and I've watched it a lot, but I don't really have any data, but I don't really notice anything by age. It's really just by the person and by the individual, like how much they want to engage, how much they want to, because in the end, if you go to any attraction, they're not really going to kill you, right? So that would be, it wouldn't be good for business first off, but it would, you go through one
No
step.
death, right?
Yes.
If you enjoyed today's show, you can catch the entire archive of our interview with Professor Huntington on youtube.com/GamesRadar. And you can follow us at twitch.tv/GamesRadar. I Got Next broadcasts live every Tuesday from 3:30 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern. Coming up on the show in the coming weeks, we've got all kinds of guests, including the man who played Jason Voorhees himself. If you want to find out when that's happening, make sure to follow us on twitch.tv/GamesRadar.